I'm Kara Infante, and this is Bookish Flights. In each episode, I chat with one bookish guest as we take some time to sample and savor the pairing recommendations from their bookish flight. We hope to give you suggestions to cultivate your TBR list and nurture your leisure time through books. In today's episode, I am chatting with Waterfall Adams. Waterfall is a creative professional who took her destiny into her own hands. Her real name is Veronica Elizabeth Adams. She was born in Paducah, Kentucky, and was raised in Mobile, Alabama. She has an Associates of Science in General Education degree from Bishop State Community College and a Bachelor of Arts degree in Art History with a Dramatic Arts minor from the University of South Alabama. She has 2 published works of poetry, The Eclectic Mind of Vee and Free to Be Vee. Welcome to the show, Waterfall.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for being here today. Well, I know you sent us this lovely bio, but why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Well, I am a creative professional who took my destiny in my own hands.
Okay. And have you been doing that for a long time now?
Yes, I have. Yeah,
Okay.
just when I graduated from South, I had trouble trying to look for a job. And before I graduated, I saw that how self-employment and freelancing is a good option.
Yeah.
And with one of the things I could do with my degree having to be freelance writing, I've been freelance writing for about 9 years.
Okay.
It's about 9, yeah. And I have 2 blogs, and I also have articles on like Hub Pages and Medium.com.
Wonderful. Listeners, we can go ahead. We can include links to that for in our show notes. If you could send us those blogs, I think we'd love to check them out. I'll make sure to include it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and is that so on your blogs, did you start writing your poetry on there? Or have you always done that?
Well, I do write things about like current events on my first blog. It's called
Okay.
Waterfall's World, and different topics.
Okay.
Um, I have mentioned my books, The Eclectic Mind of Vee and Be Vee, on one or both of my blogs. And my second blog is called Waterfall's Online Art Gallery. These are not my original artworks.
Okay.
I just like critique and talk about my favorite artworks on that one. I feel like my degree in art history, the art history part of my degree, is being used to good use on that
Yeah.
blog.
Okay, so you get both avenues there, more of a writing, it sounds like, and then more sharing from your education in art history as well on the other one.
Correct.
Oh, well, good for you for putting that all together. I know that takes a lot of work, so I commend you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Especially when it comes to like boosting things.
It is hard to get it out there, right? And are people seeing it? I kind of feel sometimes the same in the podcasting world.
Yes, I do want to get. I remember when I was in my medieval art history class about medieval art and architecture for the research paper, we had to do a podcast.
Oh, wow. Okay. So were you behind the mic or were you the guest?
I had to be behind the mic for this one. My
Okay.
research paper was about the Christian. It was like the mosaics of the Hagia Sophia.
Wow. That's in Turkey, right?
Yes,
Okay. All right. So how did you have to do multiple episodes or was it just a one time?
it was just a one-time thing.
Okay. All right. Did you enjoy doing that?
I was just happy to get it over with as long, yeah, as long as I get like a good grade on this research paper that I had worked my behind off. It had to be like 10 to 12 pages. 10 or 12 pages.
Yeah. I imagine that was a sigh of relief when that was done.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember I had either 2 or 3 to do at the same time once.
Oh my goodness. Those are the things we get to look back and be like, how did I accomplish all that? Right?
Yeah, and graduated.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's amazing. So then once you graduated, you stepped into the world of freelance, right? I have the timeline correct here?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Had you always been a writer even before that, or was this a new venture for you?
Well, I did remember when I was probably in high school. I remember writing poetry for some guy friends, and also when I was at South, I remember writing spoken word poetry that I
Okay.
performed. There was like this event that happened there called Arts Inspired, like their first annual event. My poem happened to be featured on their program, which is featured on the Eclectic Mind of Vee.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you. This is just the paperback version. There's also the ebook version available on Amazon, hopefully other outlets, and hopefully to do the audiobook version of it.
Okay. That is so impressive. I again, I'm going to say I commend you just because
Thank you.
interestingly enough, I don't love public speaking myself, and here I am doing podcasts, but for me it seems very different. But to think about writing poetry that comes from your soul, right? And then presenting that to a group, I don't know that I would have the courage to do that.
Yeah, well, I did take a public speaking class at Bishop, and I'm surprised I made an A in that class.
Yes. Oh, that is great. So, okay, so you've been writing poetry now for it sounds like a long time because this has been over many years.
Yes, I remember the first poem I heard was from Maya Angelou. It was either from a McDonald's commercial or the United Negro College Fund commercial called
Okay.
Still I Rise.
Yeah, I have read that one. That's a beautiful one.
Yes, it is.
So, is that what inspired you to start writing poetry yourself?
In a way, it has. And I
Yeah.
also remember performing my poetry in like talent shows on campus. I didn't win, but at least I didn't get booed.
I love that. So, as you've written more poetry and gone on, what have you learned about yourself as you've been writing?
I learned about myself when I'm writing, like have versatility in what I do.
Okay.
I'm more than just a poet.
So, you're still writing. So, you've got two published books now, and you're
Yeah,
still working on writing as well.
yes, two self-published books. 'Cause
Okay.
I just love the freedom and flexibility, and I have more control with self-publishing because the internet has made it a lot easier. A
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
easier.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, as far as I know, I've had some other authors on the show who have been fiction writers. Is there an I'm assuming there's an editing process as well. Do you work with an editor for poetry?
Well, with two of my first books, my mom, who's a retired teacher who has a degree in elementary education with a minor in, I think it's like English or language arts from from Murray University in Murray, Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah, and her YouTube channel is called Granny Hanny.
Oh, that's fun. And what is her YouTube channel on?
It's called Granny Hanny. She's a African American lady with the real short hair. There's probably more than one that's called Granny Hanny. I'll remember to send you the link to her.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. I would love to include that. So are you really close with your mom then?
Oh, yes, I am.
Yeah. Oh,
And
that's great.
also, with my um, career as an author now, I learned that being an author, it is a business,
Yeah.
especially with the marketing and production, which Precious Digital Marketing Agency has really been helping me with that a
Okay.
lot.
Yeah, and that's a world I don't really know much about. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
With the marketing and the promotion side, it gets like more help get your books that have, like more exposure.
Okay.
And also, I learned from a first interview I did with since my books came out is if I have like a media kit, like professional photos, book signings. I have participated in there's some poetry shows that a segment of it is like they have like a little brief open mic.
Okay.
Just
All
doing the
right.
best I can. And these interviews, which I am doing right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, awesome. So do you do most of the legwork then to do all that, like schedule the events and schedule the interviews?
Well, I do go on social media and network with different podcasters, ask if they're a podcaster, do they interview offers, do they charge interview fees, is there interviews take place like we're doing right now, a
Yeah.
A Zoom interview, or like you talk on the phone like hello.
Yeah. Oh, see, and that's like a whole nother side of podcasting I know nothing about. I've done Zoom since my start. So I'm like, this is what the platform I know. Um, okay, well, that's great. And again, just I imagine that's very time consuming in itself.
And I used to think podcast is like an alternative to like the radio,
Sure.
but it's a different thing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
might do my podcast one day. It's just I need to come with like a topic or platform so I won't bore the listeners to death.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that podcasting, right? There's so many different avenues that you could take it. And
Yes, and
yeah.
so many outlets too.
Yeah. So I say you find your niche and you run with it.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about what type of books you like to read.
Well, one of them I like is photography. This is from the late
Wow.
Kwame Braithwaite called Black is Beautiful. It's a book of photography he did. He passed away this year. May he rest
Okay.
in peace.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a beautiful cover.
And thank you. Yeah, it's a photography of some book of what he did. It's like some photography I remember seeing at a an art gallery from the History Museum of Mobile. It's called like Sensational 60s.
Okay.
And it's a lot you see a lot of black women who had like natural hair.
Yeah.
Like I have a wig on right now, as you can see, which is
Okay.
shorter than what I have on right now.
Okay. All right.
And there was this fashion show that happened in like Harlem in the 60s called I hope I found it out right. Grandasa. I am trying to look for the photo right now. All credit goes to Kwame Braithwaite.
Okay.
Here is one of the pictures, like right here. It's called Grandasa Models, like posing. It's some kind of event called like Naturally. This is from when they did it in 1967.
Okay. All right. And so is he throughout that book, does it highlight different historical times or is it just focus on the 60s?
Well, it was like like the Black is Beautiful movement. It happened around the 60s and 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, I do plan on having my own photography book one day.
Wow. So you do photography as well?
I like photography, not only have my picture taken, but also to be like behind the scenes. It's just I need to learn more about Photoshop and get some photography equipment before I get
Yeah.
into that and software and things.
Yeah, that seems like another time consuming project.
Yes.
Yeah. My sister-in-law does photography and I know she's voiced that the editing takes her quite a bit of time, but she loves it. She loves the interaction with her clients and getting out there, but I know she said that the editing is takes her some time.
Well, the photography book I want to do, it's called Where the Queen's At. For
Okay.
example, there was this photographer, his name is like James C. Lewis. Shout out to
Okay.
him, and I hope I got your name right. It showed like photos of like he did like of different African kings and people from the Bible, other topics. And I was
Yeah.
like, where the queen's at?
Yeah.
I think I remember even emailing him the same thing. Like, where are the queens?
Yeah.
Because there are so many African queens in history we heard of, and probably some we have not heard of.
Yeah. Yeah, get those stories out there. Do it.
Okay.
That would be great. Okay, so that is actually one of the books of our book flight today. So let's go ahead. And so that was Black is Beautiful by the late Kwame Braithwaite. What is the next book of the pairing today for the book flight?
All right, a second book. Now, this can really help writers and authors out here. I recently discovered on Hoopla and bought it on Amazon. It's called Your Book is Not Your Business Card. How to
Okay.
Turn Your Book into 18 Streams of Income by Carrie Opper Burner. I
Okay.
hope I got the last name right. I
All
was
right.
like, and I was like, 18 streams of income. This
Yeah.
I got to read.
Yeah. Okay. So have you dug into the pages?
Oh yeah, yes
Yeah.
I have.
Have you found it helpful?
Oh yes I have. Yeah, I could really apply this in my literary career.
Okay. All right. So she gives you very practical tips in how to apply these as well.
Yeah, it's really helpful. There's so many
Okay.
things you can do. Like for example, like number one, like the number one thing you could do, it's talking about soft cover sell, also known as paperbacks.
Okay.
And talking about how they're inexpensive to produce. And talking about second one, hardcovers and press. Like for example, like some like publishing guidelines, depending on where you publish, have some kind of certain guidelines to how many pages you have to have your book in the hardcover.
Okay. I didn't know that. What, for example, like what would that be? How many pages would it?
Yeah, I remember the one on KDP, probably around 72.
Okay. All right. Okay. So do most books, you probably know the answer to this better than I do, but do most books start as paperback then?
It would depend on how many pages that your book is, whether you want it on paperback or audiobook or hardcover or paperback.
Okay. All right. So with self-publishing, do you kind of get the choice? Do you get to make those choices along the way?
Sometimes I would, sometimes I don't.
Okay.
If I write a certain number of books, maybe I would like to have them both like soft cover or hardback or ebook or audiobook. Now those are like four sources of income right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, right? The different formats of the books. I would just, in my mind, would put that in the same box. But that's a great point because they're all different sources.
And I know, and also number four, talking about audiobooks leverage non-cognitive activities. I never knew that audiobooks been around since the 1930s. They were known as
Really?
talking books. Yep.
Okay. Okay. It's interesting you say that because I'm doing right now this like Century of Great Books challenge where I'm trying to read a book from each year for the past 100 years. I think I'm a year into it.
Really?
I have no timeline to finish this, but
Like 100 Years of Beauty?
yeah, kind of. I'm just choosing the books based off reading the synopsis of the book and it sounds interesting to me. I didn't I so
Oh,
I made my own list. But the reason I bring this up is I read a book, it was like in maybe 1930s, somewhere in there, and I did it as an audiobook. And it almost was like audiobook theater. Like they had the doors slamming in the background. It almost felt like I was listening to a play as the audiobook. So it felt a bit more theatrical than some of the audiobooks I've listened to from today.
okay. And I remember like sometimes I can have like the audiobook playing as I, go about my day, working, cleaning up,
Yeah.
relaxing, whatever.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I read a lot of audiobooks myself, is just to fit it in.
Or listening to your while you're in your car.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you do, have you done your books as an audiobook yet?
Not yet, but I do plan to.
Okay, all right. Will you read them yourself?
Maybe I would, or maybe do like another narrator, like a royalty split.
Okay, all right. Is that how that works with the narrators then? Is there's the
Yes, so,
royalties with it?
yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I looked up ACX and I heard something called Find a Way Voices and
Okay.
audiobook.com. I'm gonna look more into that.
Yeah. That's actually one of, so two episodes I was really wanting to do is someone that has written poetry because it's a genre I have not read a lot myself, but part of the premise of the show is to expand my reading horizons to read in other genres. And I want to talk to an audiobook narrator is the other one I really want to do because I want to know about the process of doing that.
True. Yeah, I'm learning
So
more about it myself, especially in the 21st century. Then things are more digitalized now.
yeah.
For example, it reminded me at when I was in South, I took a course called the Job Campaign. It teaches
Okay.
people how to get jobs, but then by the time I graduated looking for jobs myself, it is not like it was when I graduated after I took that course. Not at
Yeah.
all.
That's amazing and how quickly it would change.
I remember, in fact, I'm writing a third book. It's called Make Money While Sitting on Your A, which is A, A, and then
Yeah.
$2 signs.
Okay, we got you, girl.
Yeah, especially since you know what a certain pandemic, the world had no choice but to sit
Yeah.
on its yeah.
Yeah. That, I mean, that really did change so much.
And I remember a book um about work from home I found in a local library. In fact, working from home is not just a new thing. It has been around for a long time. For example, let's say you like long time ago you own like a L house or whatever. It's actually like somebody's house. Like downstairs is the business, but upstairs is where you live.
Yeah. Yeah, I never even thought about that, but absolutely, that's working from home.
Yeah, and also people working remotely, a digital nomad.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom worked for she did telecommunications and so she worked a lot, various jobs she would work from home for a few days a week and I know they did it to save office space, right? Like they would kind of cycle the
Hmm.
employees in and out and then that way they didn't have to have double the amount of desks. They could have half and then just have the employees alternate days on when they came in.
It's like a lot of businesses that don't really have offices, probably offices at home, save money to gotta pay a leasing company, like renting things.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing the pandemic made businesses realize, right? Is they were able to move their businesses to be remote, a lot of them. And so they
Uh-huh.
realized they didn't need that office space.
Yeah, that's true. And also I remember a YouTube video from Jaspreet Singh called Minority Mindset, how it's easier to start your own business than getting a job. Yeah,
Yeah.
for example, when I started my blog, it cost me like $0 to start. Like there's a lot of businesses now that cost only zero or little money to start them.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is nice, right? When you're just starting out to not have
Very
those
true.
upfront costs.
And have to do a business plan, gotta
Yeah.
take out a loan. But there is something called crowdfunding. I
Okay.
have learned about one of the ways you can fund a business.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a great idea. I've also seen authors do where they'll do like the is it pre-sales? They'll do the pre-sales and
Like
then they'll
here's
get
like pre-order.
yeah. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
that's what it is.
yeah, I think I might have done something like that before with one of my or two, both of my books. Like
Yeah.
pre-order.
Yeah. Just to kind of help you out along the way there a little bit.
And the company I've been working with, Precious Digital Marketing Agency, they also help me with book trailers, my logo design. They're even helping me with a crowdfunding site right now.
Okay. Well, share with
It,
us if that comes out.
yes, and
So,
yeah, my those reels promoting my book and the book trailers, they're available on my YouTube channel, Waterfall V
okay. All right. Is it just the
VE.
single V? VEE?
Yes,
Okay. All right. So YouTube, we can find you. Are you on any of the other social media
I
platforms?
am on Facebook.
Okay.
Twitter, LinkedIn,
Oh, wow.
TikTok, Instagram,
Look at you.
Tumblr.
Okay, that was Your Book is Not a Business Card: How to Turn Your Book in 18 Streams of Income by Carrie Oberrunner.
Yes, Oprah Runner.
Okay. All right. So, and then your last book of the pairing is actually one of your books. So, why don't you tell us about
It's
that?
called Free to Be Vee. Like it said on the back of it, well, if you love this book right here,
Yep. So, listeners, that's the Eclectic Mind of Vee.
yeah, it's about the topics like race, religion, womanhood, and a tribute poem to one of my poetic inspirations.
Okay.
And would you like to read a poem from this Free to Be Vee?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Let's do that.
Okay. All right, this poem right here is that I hope to adapt this book, the poem, into screen and or stage.
Okay.
It's about the history of African American dance. I would like to include like maybe like a musical with time
Wow.
travel, the different
Yeah.
eras. And
Oh,
it's
I would
called,
love to see that.
yeah, it's included in this first book, but this book has like a revised version. Maybe when I write
Okay.
like an updated, more revised version of both of these books, maybe I might add something else. Here we go. As a people, we have to dance. Way back in the motherland, we always had to dance. Through times of joy, sadness, to heal, and rites of passage, we have to dance. We always have to dance. Through times of enslavement, we still have to dance, even though they try to take it away. We dance through the shade. From the juke joints to the migration, we have to dance. Even though, even when it's time to pay the rent, we had to dance. Through depression and worldwide war, the two of them, we have to dance. In the dance studios and sock hops, we have to dance. On television and through civil unrest, we have to dance. Live and in color, we can get smooth and we can get rough. Live in color and integrated. Through the Soul Train days and the disco nights, we have to dance. With BET, MTV, VH1 in the box, we have to dance. Through social media, we have to dance. At Broadway, church, the club, community centers, competition, Hollywood, television, social gatherings, universities, all over the world, we have to dance. We even put our own spin on it. Because of this, I shake what my ancestors gave me and get my Jackson on. So to the future and beyond, we have to dance. Thank you.
Oh, yay!
Thank
I
you.
wish we were like in a big audience. I want to be like, woohoo!
Yeah,
Oh,
thank
that
you.
was beautiful. And I feel like it's such a different way for me to hear your poem when we hear it from you as opposed to reading it too.
Yeah, thank you.
That was, yeah, you're
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you so much for that. So that actually brings up a point I want to ask you. So when you read poetry, do you just read it on the page or do you read it out loud to yourself?
Oh, a little bit of both. It's just
Okay.
depending on where I am. I just hope remember to have it down cold because I remember like one of the few poetry events I went to. Some people probably had like on piece of paper and they look out the audience as well, or had their phone with them. Or get the poem on there too.
Sure.
I remember times I had like a piece of paper with me when I was performing my poetry when I was at South.
Okay. But I think poetry, right? It's meant to be spoken aloud, right? We're meant to hear it as a spoken word.
Yes, and there's also poetry to music. It's called hip hop.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, that is wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. So,
Thank you very
your
much.
Eclectic Mind of Vee, is it that was the first one you've published, correct?
Yes, the first one I self published.
Okay. And what is it similar themes in that book?
this one right here, it's a has topics from the arts to blackness to 21st century interviews.
Okay.
Would you like me to read one from here?
Oh, yes. We'd love that.
Okay, let me find something. Okay, here we go. All right, this poem it's about this stupid internet challenges you will see on social media and the internet. It's called challenge,
Okay.
cinnamon challenge, pass out challenge, fire challenge, Charlie Charlie challenge, no lacking, Tide Pod, cold water, hot chip, hot water challenge, y'all. Well, here's the grand prize. More challenges. Pay your medical bills challenge. Get your bail money ready challenge. Your mom gotta come identify your body challenge. And your loved one gotta come bear your dumbass challenge. Well, those were the prizes. Was it worth it?
Wow. I love that because it really, those things are things you think about, right? When you see those challenges, like, what are you doing?
I'm like, we both been teenagers once upon a time, and we did dumb crap. But
Yeah.
I never had the urge like, yeah, like you and your friends probably did some dumb as teens did some dumb stuff back in the day, and I did too. But never we really had the urge to, I don't know, get in
Eat
the
a Tide Pod.
shower, pour some flammable liquid on yourself, and light you on fire. Get to the shower real quick before you burn the whole house down.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I always say, and I think about this a lot, I was like, I'm glad I was raised before cell phones could take pictures in those years when I was maybe doing things, some stupid things.
And I remember when the iPhone was being released. I remember I was in Dunwoody, Georgia. I was visiting some relatives. I remember June 2007. And there I remember the upstairs had like an Apple store, so Apple products. I remember it being on the second level of the mall. And I remember
Hmm.
it stretched from that store to like long, like one of the department stores like Nordstrom or Bloomingdale's, one of those stores.
Yeah. And I feel like for so many years they would release that new phone and then people would wait in those lines forever. I don't know if they still do, to be honest. I have no idea. But I
And you
I remember
fight
being like,
over
what's
them.
going on? Yeah.
And I heard the first generation didn't work, but it got
Okay,
probably approved over time. It was I remember the first generation came out.
yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't even know when I got an iPhone. I mean, now I inevitably have one, but I don't remember, at what time period of my life that was when I made the switch. So,
And also, it kind of reminds me of another poem from this book. I have, let me count this out: one, two, three, four, five poems, and it has called like of youth. One is called like tech of youth, hair of youth, fashion
okay.
of youth, dance of youth, music of youth. Now, this other poem is called Tech of Youth.
Okay.
Would you like me to read it?
Sure. Yeah, if you're willing.
All right. Older generations always have trouble and often need assistance of younger generations, even though they even though they were the inventors by before they even came. They think young ones are addicted to technology. It's a waste of time. They don't really have full understanding. Probably think it's evil. But that's always been said about my greatest grandparents. They're from the greatest generation, motion pictures and radio. My boomer parents' television, my stepmom and cousin X's beepers and video games. And my Y, I'm from Generation Y, which is also known as millennial, social media and internet. Thank you.
I love how you're hitting on all these issues that are so relevant.
Thank you.
Right. to our current times. So you're very welcome. Okay, listeners. So we had poems read from Free to Be Vee, but also we got from the Eclectic Mind of Vee as well. So thank you so much for
Thank you very
that.
much.
Yeah. And like I said, we'll include all the links where you can find her books of poetry. And we'll also include all the links on social media where we can find you too.
Thank you very
So
much. Thanks for having
you're
me.
welcome. Yeah. Well, hold on one second. I have one more thing for you. So I love to end the show with some speed round of questions here. So you can just answer these really
I'm
quick.
ready.
So, where is your favorite place to read?
I like to read in the library, in the car, at home, during a long trip.
Okay. So, all over.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, I won't be
great.
bored.
And then, absolutely, always got to have your book ready. What is one book you have read that has changed your life?
Reinvention Roadmap by Liz Ryan.
Okay. And then, are you a rereader?
If I get bored enough, if the book's good enough to make you want to read again, I'll read it.
Okay. Awesome. And then, lastly, what are you reading next?
I am reading this, The Autism Friendly Guide to Self-Employment by Robin Stewart.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I know your time is precious and I appreciate all that you've given me.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for listening to this interview today with Waterfall Adams and her book flight of books that have helped her in her poetry career. We'd love to hear what other books you'd pair with this book flight at bookishflights.com. That is also where you can find more information on today's flight and any other books that we talked about today. I want to inspire a community of readers. So whenever you share a post about what you are reading or what you are picking up next, especially if you have heard about the book on the show, please tag us. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram at Bookish Flights. This is a brand new show, so if you enjoyed it, please head over to Apple Podcasts and give the show a review. Your review not only helps me, but it also helps the show reach others. Make sure you are subscribed on Apple Podcasts or Spotify to make sure that you will not miss an episode. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. As Emma Thompson said, I think books are like people in the sense that they'll turn up in your life when you most need them. Cheers to you, dear readers. Until next time.